Hello and welcome back to our FCS Dynasty in NCAA Football 2006. If you were not here yesterday, you missed the Buck Buchanan Award watch list. Go ahead and check that one out. It was a good one, and we premiered that one 6 o'clock. This one's coming out at 6 o'clock. It's live right now. Hey guys, how you doing? But today this is the Rodney Harrison Award. I made this one, and it's for the most outstanding defensive back, since the Buck Buchanan Award has only ever been won one time by a defensive back. I figured they needed one for themselves. So there's plenty of talent in the secondary for a lot of schools in this dynasty, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at 5 players from our 12 schools first, and then we're going to take a look at 5 more players from around the nation. I'm going to put up 2 polls. You guys can vote on them. Vote in each poll so I know who to advance to the next stage, and we can get a winner for this Rodney Harrison Award for Most Outstanding Defensive Back. Let's get into it. Our first player, Darius Peters, out of VMI, the free safety. He has been a beast, 29 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 sack, 6 interceptions, which is tied for number 1 in the country, and he has 38 return yards. He also has 13 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery for 66 yards, and a touchdown. So Darius Peters balling out so far for the VMI Cadets. He was holding that team down, trying to carry them on defense for the first few weeks, as they were without their running back for most of the season too, so their offense was having a rough time putting up points. Player number 2, Chris Numa. No surprise that he's on this list. Cornerback out of Savannah State, the Tigers. He's got 16 tackles, 2 for a loss, 4 picks on the season, 1 return for a touchdown, and 65 return yards, 10 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble, and on special teams, he has 11 kick returns, 286 yards along of 49, 18 punt returns, 306 yards along of 85, and 3 touchdowns on punt returns. He's an absolute beast, and he totally deserves to be on this list. And moving on to our third player out of 5, it's going to be Ralph William, free safety for the Cal Poly Mustangs, and he has also been phenomenal this year. 32 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, 6 interceptions with 28 return yards, 11 pass deflections, and 2 forced fumbles. He doesn't have any touchdowns, but he has made some critical and clutch interceptions in some clutch situations. And he has been probably the best player on that defense. There are a lot of good players for the Cal Poly Mustangs defense. They've also got Joseph Lozano lining up next to William at cornerback, and he is also a beast. Our 4th player out of 5 is going to be Tadian Moss, cornerback out of Bryant for the Bulldogs, and he has had a great season, 21 tackles, 5 interceptions, 105 return yards, 1 pick 6, and 8 pass deflections. He doesn't have an overabundance of stats, but those 5 interceptions is good for number 2 in the country. 105 yards on returns is top 10 in the country. And 8 pass deflections, that's pretty good as well. He's holding down the left side of that field out in the secondary. And it does help that he has a pick 6. So Tadian Moss, great player for the Bulldogs. And he is the 4th player on our Rodney Harrison Award watch list. Player number 5, Tre Henry III for the UC Davis Aggies. He joins his teammate Andrew Jackson on the defensive award watch list. Now Tre Henry III has 25 tackles on the season, 1 for a loss, 5 interceptions, good for number 2 in the country, 21 return yards, 8 pass deflections, and a forced fumble, which you can see right there in his player card against Sacramento State. That was just a vicious hit right up the middle. And Tre Henry III is, of course, a great talent, and he's helping out that Aggies defense quite a bit this season. But that is it for our 5 players from our 12 schools. Let's go ahead and take a look around the nation. Matt Dunlap, strong safety out of Delaware State. 80 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 8 pass deflections, 4 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovered. 80 tackles is just insane, and that's probably top 10 in the country. I'm not even going to look because that's just a lot. That's crazy for a safety. Bob Jones, cornerback, number 26 out of Samford. This is our 2nd Samford Bulldog that we've seen on one of these videos. He's got 24 tackles, 5 interceptions, which is good for 2nd in the country, of course, 20 return yards, and 2 pass deflections. He doesn't have a whole lot of stats, but he's mainly on here because of those 5 interceptions. Vincent Sampson out of the Grambling State Tigers team. Great player. 23 tackles, 3 picks, 3 pass deflections, 3 fumbles forced, and 2 fumbles recovered. So he is all over the field, making all sorts of plays for the Tigers, and I can't wait to play him sometime in this dynasty. Robert Collins, free safety out of Maine, has 18 tackles, 4 for a loss, 1 sack, 6 interceptions, 16 return yards, 3 pass deflections, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Of course, 6 interceptions is number 1 in the country. There's a whole bunch of players tied with that stat, but a forced fumble and a fumble recovery adds to his stats and makes him pretty good. Victor Anderson, cornerback out of Morgan State, another HBCU team. He's got 44 tackles, 2 for a loss, 2 picks, 14 deflections, and 3 forced fumbles. A cornerback with 44 tackles and 3 forced fumbles is crazy. So that is why he is on this list. That's going to do it for this video, guys. There's a poll for each section, one for our 5 players from our 12 schools. There's a poll for the 5 players around the nation. Vote on both of them for the top player in your eyes in each spot. So that is going to do it, guys. I hope to see you guys tomorrow with our Special Teams Award. That'll be a fun one. We got some kickers on there, some punters, some return men. It should be an interesting one. I hope to see you guys then. But that is going to do it, guys. Until tomorrow at 6 o'clock Eastern Time with the premiere of the Special Teams Award watch list. Take it easy.